Before we get started with this week's content, please, if you haven't done so already, like, comment, and smash that subscribe button. Now, without further ado, enjoy this week's show. I know your parents. It started like any other quiet weekend. My parents had gone to a cabin retreat about 2 hours out, just the two of them. They left Friday morning and wouldn't be back until Sunday night. I was 17, responsible, old enough to stay home alone. And honestly, I was kind of looking forward to it. No siblings, no rules, just me, junk food, and horror movies. The day passed normally. I did a bit of homework, microwaved a burrito for dinner, and by around 11:30 p.m., I was curled up on the couch in a hoodie, watching The Descent with all the lights off. That's when I heard it. 3 slow knocks. I muted the movie, sat up, and listened. Silence. Then again. Knock. 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 I froze. We live on a quiet street. Not isolated, but not a place where people show up late without warning. I wasn't expecting anyone. No deliveries. No friends stopping by. I crept to the front door and checked the peephole. There was a man standing there. Mid-30s maybe, tan jacket, ball cap, pale face. I couldn't see much with the porch light off, just his shape lit by the distant street lamp. He stood still, hands in his pockets. I didn't say anything. Then he leaned a little closer to the door and said, "Hey, I know your parents." Just like that, calm, friendly even. But something about his voice. It was too flat. I didn't answer. I just stood there, heart pounding. He spoke again. "Your mum, Rachel, right? And your dad, Mark? They told me you'd be home, alone tonight." I stepped back from the door. The air felt wrong, heavy. My parents had never mentioned anyone stopping by. And no one should have known I was alone, unless they were told. I grabbed my phone, texted both my parents. "Did you send someone to the house? Some guy says he knows you." No reply. I kept the lights off and backed away from the door, slowly. Then, the doorknob jiggled. Once, then again. I bolted into the kitchen and locked the back door, just in case. Then I ran to the downstairs bathroom and locked that door too. A few minutes passed, quiet. Then, a soft knock on the bathroom door, from inside the house. I didn't move, didn't breathe. He spoke, just inches away on the other side. "You shouldn't leave the back window unlocked." My chest seized. There was a tiny kitchen window near the sink. I hadn't even thought to check it earlier. He was in the house. I quietly dialed 911, hand trembling. Whispered everything to the dispatcher. She stayed calm, told me to stay on the line. Cops were already on the way. 10 of the longest minutes of my life passed. I heard footsteps down the hallway. And silence. Then, a laugh. Low, breathless. Followed by the front door opening, then slamming shut. When the police arrived minutes later, I ran out and waved them in. They cleared the whole house. No one was there. They found muddy boot prints by the back door and kitchen window. He'd come in through that. They also found something else. A small Polaroid photo tucked under the bathroom door. It was taken from outside my bedroom window, from earlier that day. I was in the frame, on my bed, headphones on, scrolling my phone. The window had been open just a few inches. The next morning, my parents finally called, said their phones had been out of service, no signal near the cabin. They hadn't told anyone I was staying home, not even close friends. They came back immediately. We gave everything to the cops. Prints, photo, even doorbell footage. Here's the twist. There was no footage. The camera, which had worked perfectly the day before, recorded nothing between 11:30 p.m. and 1 a.m. Just a black screen, like someone had jammed the signal. But here's the part that still gives me chills. Later that week, I checked my Instagram. Buried in my message requests was one from a blank account. No name, no bio, no posts. Just one message. Nice hoodie. Red looks good on you. I'd been wearing a red hoodie that night, inside my locked house, with the blinds closed. They never caught him. The case went cold. But I don't stay home alone anymore. And I never, ever ignore strange knocks at the door. Because sometimes they already know you're there, and they already know your name. He's watching from the woods. It was raining that night, the slow, steady drizzle that clung to the windows like static. I was 16, home alone. My mum was working a late shift at the hospital, overnight ER nurse. Dad was 3 states away for a construction job. The house felt still, warm, safe. I had a blanket wrapped around me, some chips, and an old thriller movie playing on TV. Everything was normal, until the doorbell rang. Not a knock, not pounding, just one clear ding-dong. I froze. It was 9:46 p.m., pitch black outside. We don't get visitors after dark, not out here. We live on the edge of a small town, just past the last street lamp. Across from our house is nothing but a patch of woods, tall, tangled trees that stretch back for acres. I peek through the blinds. There was a girl on our porch, maybe 13. She was soaked, hoodie stuck to her arms, jeans heavy with rain. Her hair was plastered to her face. She didn't look up, just stood there, shoulders hunched, facing the door. Something about her felt off. I hesitated, then cracked the door open, keeping the chain lock on. "Hey," I said, "are you okay?" She didn't answer at first, just stood there shivering. Then, soft and careful, she said, "I was walking, and I got lost. I was at a friend's house, but I lost my phone. Can I just come in and call someone?" Her voice shook, like she was crying, but something about the way she said it. It didn't feel scared. It felt rehearsed. "Where do you live?" I asked. She paused, looked up slowly. That's when I noticed something strange. Her face didn't match her voice. She sounded like a scared kid, but her expression, it was almost blank, too calm. "Just down there," she said, vaguely gesturing behind her. "Please, it's cold." My stomach twisted. I kept the door closed. "I can call someone for you," I said. "But I can't let you in." Her eyes narrowed, only slightly, like something inside her didn't like that answer. Then, she smiled. Not warm, not grateful, but knowing. She stepped back off the porch, turned around, and that's when I saw him. A man, standing across the street, half hidden behind a tree, not moving, not blinking, just watching. He was tall, wearing a hooded jacket. I could barely make out his face, but the glow of the porch light caught something. His eyes, wide, unblinking, staring straight at me. I slammed the door and locked every bolt. Heart hammering. Ran to the back, locked every window, grabbed my phone and called the cops. They said someone would be there in minutes. Stay inside, stay hidden. But I had to see. I pulled the curtain just a bit and looked through the front window. The girl was gone. So was the man. Nothing but rain and trees. A few minutes later, headlights came down the street. A patrol car. I ran out to meet them. 2 officers came inside, checked everything, then walked the perimeter. When they came back, one of them looked pale. "You're sure the girl was alone when she knocked?" he asked. "Yes," I said, "but there was a man across the street in the woods." The cop nodded slowly. "We found footprints leading up to the porch, small ones, her size. But we also found prints coming out of the woods and going around your house, back windows, side yard, one even by your bedroom window." My blood went cold. "And here's the weirdest part," the other officer added. "We found a set of men's boots behind a tree across the street, and a small plastic chair." I blinked. "A chair?" He nodded. "One of those cheap ones, like you put on a porch, hidden in the brush, facing your house. Like you've been sitting there, watching." They reviewed our doorbell footage. The camera showed the girl walking up. She knocked. She spoke. But something was wrong with the video. Right when she smiled, the screen glitched, just for a second. And during that glitch, you could see the man in the woods. Only he wasn't just standing behind the tree. He was leaning out, face tilted, smiling. The police said they patrolled the area more frequently, but the next day, that cheap plastic chair was gone. And later that week, my mum found something under my bedroom window, a Polaroid photo of me, taken through the glass, sleeping. We moved 3 months later. Haven't heard from anyone since. But sometimes, I still get spam calls from unknown numbers, area codes I don't recognize. And once, just once, I got a text from an anonymous number. No name, no context, just 5 words. "Can I come in now?" The man at the sliding door. It was a normal Saturday night. My parents were away for the weekend, visiting my aunt 2 towns over. I was 17 and they trusted me to stay home. I had dinner, watched some Netflix, and played Xbox for a while. By 11:30 p.m., I'd shut everything down and gone upstairs to my room. It was quiet. Too quiet, honestly. No traffic sounds, no wind. I was lying in bed scrolling TikTok, lights off, when I noticed something. The security motion light in the backyard turned on. It flicked on suddenly, casting a white glow through the gaps in the blinds. It wasn't windy. No animals. The backyard was fenced in. I got up, peeked through the blinds. Nothing. Just wet grass in the old shed. Light buzzed, then clicked off. I shook it off, probably a cat. But 2 minutes later, it came back on. I looked again. Still nothing. But I felt that creeping unease crawl up my neck. I went downstairs, checked the locks. Front door, deadbolt. Garage, shut. Backsliding door, locked tight. I even grabbed a knife from the kitchen and kept it on the counter, just in case. I was headed back upstairs when I heard it. A soft tap. I froze. It came again. Tap, tap, tap. From the back sliding glass door. I crept toward the kitchen. The tapping got louder, more urgent, but still, careful. When I reached the door, I didn't go right up to it. I crouched down by the kitchen island and peeked through the side. That's when I saw him. A man, standing just outside the glass, face barely visible in the motion light. He wore a dark hoodie, jeans soaked from the grass. He wasn't looking in, not directly. He was looking slightly to the left, just standing there. Then he turned and smiled, like he knew I was watching. I didn't move, didn't breathe. He lifted one hand, palm flat, and pressed it against the glass. Then the other. And slowly, he leaned forward, resting his forehead on the door, like he was listening. Then, in a voice so quiet I almost didn't hear it, he whispered, "I saw you." My stomach flipped. I scrambled backwards, grabbed my phone and called 911. I whispered everything to the dispatcher. She told me to stay hidden. Officers were already nearby. Minutes passed like hours. I peeked again. He was still there. But now, he wasn't standing. He was crouched, one hand on the glass, his face tilted, grinning, like he was waiting for me to come closer. Then, he lifted something from his jacket. A key. My heart dropped. How? Before I could finish the thought, he stood up, walked calmly to the side gate, and disappeared from view. I backed into the living room, knife in one hand, phone in the other. Then I remembered something. We kept a spare key hidden behind a loose board on the side of the deck, exactly where he had been standing. Cops arrived minutes later, searched the entire yard, the alley, the nearby street. No sign of him. But the side gate was open, and the spare key was gone. That night, I didn't sleep, not a second. I stayed on the phone with my mum until sunrise. She and my dad came home early. We changed all the locks, installation a camera system, never left keys outside again. Here's the worst part. A week later, I got a DM on Instagram. No profile picture, no name, new account. Just one message. Next time, don't hide. He never broke in, never returned. But I still check every door, every window, every night. Because somewhere out there, he has a key, and he knows what I look like when I'm alone. Remember, fear doesn't go away. It just follows you home.